How's it going, everybody? The PlayStation Store is currently running its Halloween sale along with its games under $15 sale, fall savings sale, just a ton of stuff even now in October before the holidays really kick off. Want to highlight deals under $5 in this video. Now, primarily we're looking at the Halloween sale, a couple deals from the games under 15 sale, but definitely we'll do more under $5 because the games under 15 is just gargantuan in terms of super cheap games. But the games I picked out here, I think some of them would actually be applicable to the Halloween sale in terms of thematically, but let's get right into it. Let's start off with the games from the Halloween sale directly. First of all, we have The Walking Dead, the complete first season. I want to give a shout to the second season as well. They're both $3.74 a pop. Now, ideally, I would recommend you to pick up the definitive series, which is $12.49. The definitive series gets you seasons 1 through 4, the Michonne miniseries, and 400 Days. So that gets you all the content, and it's like $12.49. But if you just want to get into the series, buying the first season is an okay option as well at $3.74. Now, in my opinion, as far as Telltale games go, Walking Dead Season 1 is 1A and 1B with Wolf Among Us for their best releases ever. I think Walking Dead Season 1 is tremendous. Like, it's actually an emotional tearjerker by the end, and yeah, kind of a roller coaster, and I thought it was very, very well executed. Obviously, these games are super narrative-driven and very worthwhile to go through. So definitely recommend that. I would also give a strong recommendation to Season 2, which I think is damn near as good as Season 1. Both of those are great. I think with the subsequent seasons, on that, but the first two seasons I thought were, you know, fantastic. Moving on from that, we have Little Nightmares, 75% off for $4.99. This is available on PlayStation Plus Extra. Little Nightmares is a fantastic horror title. It's a game that thematically and atmosphere-wise is fantastic. The gameplay, I don't think, is anything crazy, but I think as far as immersion goes, it does a really, really good job, and it's a spooky horror game. $4.99 is a great price. Little Nightmares 2 is available as well. That game is great. You know, Little Nightmares 2, in my opinion, is better than the first, but you should play all of them, and number 3 is coming out in early 2024, I believe, so be on the lookout for that as well. Next up, we have Castlevania, Requiem, Symphony of the Night, and Rondo of Blood, 75% off for $4.99. Now, Symphony of the Night is one of the most iconic video games of all time. Obviously, going into these games these days, they're gonna show its age. Symphony of the Night was originally a PlayStation 1 title, that obviously in the PS1 era was a tremendous release. Now, Rondo of Blood, if my memory serves me correctly, the original release over here in North America was actually through the Dracula X Chronicles on PSP. Don't quote me on that. That's just off the top of my head. But Rondo of Blood is an addition to Symphony of the Night. Symphony of the Night is tremendous, and to get both those for $5 is a great deal. So just bear in mind, again, these are very much dated experiences, but some of you guys are into those throwbacks, so thought I would recommend that. Next up, we have The Evil Within, 75% off for $4.99. Now, The Evil Within is available on PlayStation Plus Extra. It's a Bethesda release, so I imagine that Sony has some sort of agreement with Bethesda right now to have these games on Plus Extra, but you would think they would eventually be pulled because, you know, Microsoft owns Bethesda, but we'll see if that does happen. I mean, it would be kind of cool if these games just stay on Plus Extra, but nonetheless, $4.99 for The Evil Within is a really solid deal, really enjoyable horror title. Atmosphere in this one is great as well. Story's pretty good, and yeah, $4.99 for a pretty solid survival horror title. Thematically works. As far as the Halloween mood goes, Evil Within's a solid pickup. Check out Evil Within 2 as well, because I think that game is even better, although that might be a little bit of a hot take. Next up, Wolfenstein The New Order, 75% off for $4.99. Same deal, Bethesda title on PlayStation Plus Extra for now. I really enjoyed Wolfenstein The New Order. It would be great if there was a PlayStation 5 upgrade on this, but what can you do? You can't win them all. Obviously, Wolfenstein does get a little bit wacky, a little bit zany, a little bit off the wall, but that's kind of the charm with Wolfenstein. The gameplay, I thought, was really good. As a first-person shooter, it's good. And the story is still pretty engaging. Although it gets wacky, it's an engaging narrative the whole way through, and it's relatively lengthy. For a single-player first-person shooter, like, you know, this isn't your 6 to 7 hour experience. You're getting a little bit lengthier of a campaign here, and given it's single-player only, you kind of do need that, but I digress. Good price here as well. Next up, now these are deals outside of the Halloween sale. Batman Return to Arkham, 75% off for $4.99. Now, I do believe they have the Batman Arkham Collection on sale for $5.99, so that'll get you Arkham Knight as well. So if you don't have Arkham Knight, that's something to look at. If you do have Arkham Knight, Return to Arkham is great. That'll get you Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Given we don't have PlayStation 3 backwards compatibility, a lot of you guys probably have those games on PS3. Well, if you want them on PS4, this is a great way to do so and replay these games. Arkham Asylum, I still remember back in August of 2009, I was a wee lad lad back then, but leading into the release of Arkham Asylum, if you remember back in that time, superhero games were not, always that great, and Arkham Asylum kind of shifted the narrative slowly on superhero titles. You got titles like Spider-Man Web of Shadows that were pretty good. And Arkham Asylum was just on another level. In terms of other superhero games leading up until that point, yeah, you had stuff like X-Men Origins Wolverine, which was decent, but Arkham Asylum was a phenomenal game, and it still holds up fairly well, being almost 15 years old at this point. The combat in the game is still really good. Visually, it's pretty decent. Voice acting is really good. Story is good. And, yeah, Arkham Asylum is still worthwhile to play through almost 15 years later. Arkham City opens up the world. You have a bigger open world to explore. Arkham Asylum is a little bit more contained, but Arkham City has more content, and really, in my opinion, that's the best game out of the Arkham franchise, and it's just such a bummer. I saw a tweet by this, I forgot who tweeted it, but it's crazy to me that Rocksteady was known for doing these Batman Arkham titles, this trilogy of tremendous superhero titles. Arkham Knight came out back in 2015, almost 8.5 years ago, and now what have they done since then? They're working on somewhat of a pseudo-live service Suicide Squad game. I hope it turns out well, because, man, Rocksteady at one point could do no wrong, and it's just a shame to see, how it shifted. And I believe the rhetoric on that was coming up with Spider-Man 2 coming out, superhero games in the discussion, but diatribe over. Hopefully Rocksteady finds their footing, because they did a tremendous job with the Arkham titles, and it's just a bummer to see where they are at now. Next up, we have Dragon's Crown Pro, 80% off for $3.99. You guys know that I'm a sucker for Vanillaware titles. We'll see how their upcoming tactical RPG does, but Dragon's Crown Pro was a solid 2D action RPG beat-em-up title. Definitely, in my opinion, the weakest game they put out, but that's not saying much. Odin Sphere was fantastic. Muramasa the Demon's Blade was great. Let's get a port of that going. I mean, that game is relegated to the Nintendo Wii and the PS Vita. And then, obviously, you guys know how I feel about 13 Sentinels. That game is just fantastic. Dragon's Crown, I didn't have those feelings towards, but it's still an enjoyable game. And the art style is still that Vanillaware flair that's very easy on the eyes. And for $3.99, great pickup here. Next up, Need for Speed Heat, 92% off for $4.79. I know this is an older Need for Speed game. Actually, it's like the second to last one, I believe. We had Unbound, which this game, in my opinion, is better than Need for Speed Unbound. Need for Speed Heat was a solid arcade racer. Yeah, there were some elements from a gameplay standpoint that didn't really click, but I feel like from a presentation standpoint, the setting, the aesthetics, those were all fantastic. The story, obvious, with the Need for Speed games, the story you just tune out. You just pretend it doesn't exist, because if you even judge the story, yeah, that's gonna knock it down a point or two. Just pretend like it doesn't exist. But as far as an arcade racer goes, this is a good time. Soundtrack is pretty solid as well. Some good chases in there. $4.79 is a great price, so sub $5 included with EA Play, but, most of you guys don't have that, so that'll be fine. And lastly, Darkest Dungeon, 80% off for $4.99. You would think this would be a shoo-in for the Halloween sale, but, nonetheless, a pretty solid game that is fairly challenging, a little bit darker of a tone to the game as well. Has some mechanics that don't really click with me, but as far as an RPG goes, it's one that is fairly well done and, again, fairly challenging. So if you're into that, $5 is pretty decent on that. But that is going to do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals available on the PlayStation Store across the board right now. You really can find something for whatever your tastes are, and this is just, scratching the surface of stuff under $5. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of deals of games under $5. So we'll do another video here in the near future, but thought we would get one out this weekend. That'll do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.